Day number 17 will now come to order. Please pause for a moment of silent meditation. And this evening, if I could ask everyone to think of someone who has been an integral part of the fabric of Baltimore County. We lost Marty Resnick last week, and the Resnick family has just been outstanding contributors to this county, to this region. And Marty, I think, was 93 years old, and he did so many things that no one knew what he did. For example, Councilman Young, I didn't know this until I attended the memorial service. He adopted Lansdowne Middle School, and once a year would invite the entire middle school to Martin's West. They'd dress up, they'd have lunch, he'd greet every single student, and they'd call him Uncle Marty. And I thought, what an outstanding man to do this. And I think he did it for another school in Baltimore City, but that Riverview, thank you, Councilman Young. And so it was just, and this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the things that Marty Resnick did. And I think everyone in the room perhaps could think about an occasion that they were at one of the Martin's facilities and had a great time, or went to a wedding, or went to a banquet, or received an award. It's just such a special place and really part of the fabric of Baltimore County. So with that, I would ask us just to think about the Resnick family and in our silent meditation. Okay, is there a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of September 3rd, 2024? Oh, thank you. Let me call on Councilman Marks to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of September 3rd, 2024?
So move.
All in favor? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the journal is approved. Enrollment of bills, Bill 5624, 5724, 5824, 5924, 6024, 6124, and 6224 were passed by the County Council, signed by the executive, and now are hereby enrolled. Mr. Secretary, will you now read all bills for introduction?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We have 3 bills for introduction this evening. Bill 7524, Current Expense Budget Long-Term and Dementia Care Program. Bill 76-24, Amending the 2024-2025 Capital Budget. And Bill 7724, sponsored by Councilman Jones, Zoning Regulations, Uses Permitted, and Bulk Regulations in the OT Zone.
Okay. Thank you. We'll now consider the appointment confirmation. Mr. Secretary?
Yes, the only appointment on the schedule for this evening is the county executives, is the council's consideration of the county executive's nomination of Christopher Martin to be the director of the Office of Information Technology.
Okay, Mr. Martin.
Good evening, council members, council chair. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to start by expressing my appreciation to you, the administration, the other departments, and the Office of Information Technology team and leadership for their continued support and dedication to making OIT the incredible team that it is. Tonight, I do want to say thank you to my parents, the technology leadership team, like I said, the other departments. I know a few other departments head came out as well, and then members of the team that are here as well. I know Amber, Dana, Lisa came out tonight to show their support, so thank you. I started my career at the University of Baltimore, where I graduated with a degree in information systems and technology management, and then held multiple positions within the technology department there. At the beginning of COVID, I joined Baltimore County as the endpoint manager, leading multiple customer service-focused teams, where we took an agile approach to supporting a rapidly changing workforce. As the county normalized, I stepped into the deputy director role, where we engaged with the entire county government to implement multiple large-scale enterprise projects while navigating leadership changes directly in OIT. In the past few months, I have served as the acting director, where we have put a focus on continuing our path forward with customer engagement, enterprise-level development, and reducing our technical debt. Together, we will face technical advances in cyber response, artificial intelligence, and application modernization. I look forward to your support for this role, as well as continuing to serve the Baltimore County constituents and the departments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Martin? Okay. Councilman.
Give a motion to approve.
I just want to say one comment before we move into motions.
Sorry.
Okay.
Mean to.
Mr. Martin, I just wanted to thank you for doing an outstanding job. You've really made your mark here. It's noticeable, I think, for me, and I believe my colleagues as well. So being an agency head is not easy. You need to have practical skills as well as leadership skills, and I think you've demonstrated both of those skills.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And your parents are here?
My parents are here. Yeah.
Parents, it's a proud day. Hello, parents. It's always good to have parents here. Oh, yeah. Your son is a very talented man. Okay, now Councilman Ertel's made a motion.
A motion to approve.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Well, that's great. So, Mr. Martin, let me just tell you, today we have something new. Councilman Ertel informs me that he brought a decibel meter in. And so, and contingent on your appointment here is if the team that hears to support you can make a lot of noise. So at the count of 3, you got your decibel meter ready, Councilman Ertel? Okay. Okay, and it's going to, tack up if you watch the screen. No, I'm just kidding about watching the screen. Okay, you ready to make some noise for Mr. Martin? Okay.
Thank you.
I just got a text from Councilman Ertel that about busted the meter. Congratulations, Mr. Martin. Okay. We'll now move on to final reading and votes of bills. Mr. Secretary, first item, please.
First, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 63-24, tax on vacant structure.
Okay, Mr. Gutwald, come on up. You want us to try the decibel meter on you, Mr. Gutwald?
Single straight lines at weird angles in certain places.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. Bill 6324 establishes a new tax on vacant structures as authorized under state law. It permits the county to impose a vacant structure tax on buildings that have been designated as vacant and or unfit for habitation or other authorized use. This is the determination of processing a designated property as vacant was established under Article 35, Subtitle 5, which, as you recall, was originally established under Bill 523, so there is a process. This bill will set a tax rate of $10 per 100 assessed value. $100 of assessed value. One half of the revenue will be directed towards the neglected property community fund, and the other half will be directed towards the housing opportunities fund. As we reported in previous, at the time of the legislation, there was about 435 registered vacant properties, of which 31 were deemed unfit for habitation. I know that number has increased over the past month, probably somewhere around 500 registered properties with about 50 deemed unfit for habitation. So with that, I'll end my presentation and answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Mr. Gutwald. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Mr. Gutwald? Okay, hearing none. Do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Okay. I don't know if we can do it on a,
General frustration.
okay. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next is Bill 64-24, penalties and enforcement for distribution of tobacco products and electronic smoking devices to persons under 21.
Good evening, Chairman Patoka, members of the council. Bill 6424 is an update to the county code to put us in alignment with state COMAR. So under Article 13, Title 12 of the Baltimore County Code, Baltimore County government regulates the distribution of tobacco products and electronic smoking devices to persons under 21. However, there are multiple provisions contained in this title that are in conflict with state and federal law. The current legislation is intended to align the components of Baltimore County Code with state and federal standards. Firstly, under county, state, and federal law, it is illegal to sell tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, and e-cigarettes to anyone under 21. The current county code allows retailers to sell tobacco to an active duty member of the military who is between 18 and 20 years old. This provision is in conflict with federal law and right now referred to as Tobacco 21, which eliminated the military exception. The administration's proposed legislation would align the county code with this federal law. Also, under current county code, retailers are required to verify by means of government-issued identification the bearer's date of birth. Each person purchasing tobacco product or paraphernalia must be at least 21 years of age. However, under current county code, that verification is not required for persons over 27. The administration's proposed legislation would raise this standard to 30 years of age, which is consistent with state law. And finally, the administration's proposed legislation would align the county's civil penalty structure with the state's. Currently, under county code, the owner or retailer who violates the distribution provisions in any calendar year is subject to a civil penalty of $500 for a first violation, $1,000 for a second violation, and $1,500 for suspension of all tobacco sales for 1 month or both for a third or subsequent violation. Our proposed legislation would require that an owner who violates the distribution provisions in any 2-year period is subject to a civil penalty of $500 for first violation, $1,000 for a second violation, and increase to $3,000 or suspension of all tobacco sales for 1 month or both for a third or subsequent violation within a 2-year period. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Councilman Jones?
Yes, Mr. Richardson, I certainly appreciate the bringing the bills in line with the state. It makes sense. Clearly, we don't want anyone selling any tobacco products to people under age. Can you go over that penalty matrix with me again? Because I was a little confused. You had the one process for 1 year, and then you had a additional process for a second year? Was that just for the owner of the property?
No, just for a second violation. So currently, our violations are based on calendar year. So it would reset each calendar year for someone in violation. To make us in alignment with state law, we're making it a 2-year period. So any violations within that 2-year period would count as a first, second, and third subsequent violation.
Up to $3,000.
Up to $3,000 or suspension for 1 month.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do any of the members have any additional questions, comments, or thoughts for Mr. Richardson? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Marks? Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Okay, passes. Mr. Secretary, next item, please. Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Next is Bill 6524, the creation of the position of Labor Commissioner.
Good afternoon, Council Chair, members of the County Council. This request is to amend the county's executive compensation plan to add the classification of Labor Commissioner to the exempt service of the county. The Labor Commissioner shall be located within the administrative office. The Labor Commissioner shall be responsible for administering the county's labor relations program in conformance with the federal and state laws, county rules and policies, and shall assist with oversight of the daily functions performed. The position will negotiate collective bargaining agreements with all 6 county unions, with employee representatives of each union group, and act as a hearing officer for the final internal step in the employee grievance procedure.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share with Ms. Coleman? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Okay, it passes. Thank you, Ms. Coleman.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 66-24, current expense budget, Recreation Council donations.
Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Council Chair, members of the County Council. The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of private funds totaling $18,840 from the now defunct Police Athletic League Board of Directors to the Recreation Council Donations, Gifts, and Grants Fund Program. In FY24, the department reorganized the county's Police Athletic League, or PAL centers, to recreation activity centers in order to promote recreational, social, and wellness opportunities to a wider range of people in the communities, including programming and space for all ages. The department advised that the PAL Board of Directors has decided to dissolve at this time and donate the funds comprising the $18,840 to a supplemental appropriation. These funds were previously raised by the Board of Directors to provide educational, cultural, and athletic experiences for children who may otherwise not have such opportunities, and these funds will continue to be used for similar purposes, including field trips and supplies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, or thoughts to share for Mr. Smith? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion is second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Smith. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, is Bill 68-24. This bill is sponsored by council members Ertel, Crandall, and Jones. Rental housing licenses, short-term rental lease.
Okay, Councilman Ertel.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this bill creates a short-term rental license, which we have not had in the past. We have a regular rental license. And I know I've talked about this before, but for those in the room who may not have heard this before, short-term rentals are Airbnbs, Verbos, other different names that they rent under. And often they're running, you know, all these are being run as businesses. We've found some things out over the course of the last couple years. Mostly that Baltimore County does not have regulations surrounding these, and every other jurisdiction around us does. One of the things I found out that was most shocking was that an Airbnb, a property, a short-term rental property, is not necessarily subject to a fire safety inspection. and I had a situation where a townhome was being rented in Lochraven Village, and 2 of the bedrooms were in the basement with no egress windows, and the back door had been covered up by a deck that had been built on top of it. And the neighbors knew this, and I asked the fire department to go in and check this, and I was told, well, we have to be invited in. So I thought that was a big problem in the sense that this is a business. I think people assume when they rent an Airbnb that the jurisdiction that it's in is concerned about their safety. So that's a biggie in here, but it creates a license, creates some other criteria for the properties. We had this studied by our planning department. They put a really good package together of recommendations, questions and answers on different other legislation that have been in other jurisdictions. And we think this is going to be a really good piece of legislation that kind of puts some parameters around these short-term rentals. So I hope everyone joins me in supporting it.
Thank you,
I know there's some amendments that we're going to consider on this as well.
Thank you, Councilman Ertel. Any of the other members?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may, before we move to the amendment.
Go right ahead, Councilman Crandall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Councilman Ertel for his leadership on this issue. We had a conversation, Steve, Mike, maybe over a year or 2 ago, regarding short-term rentals and some issues they were creating in the communities that we represent. And that led to the resolution to request that the planning board make recommendations to us, which they have. It's a little bit of a sticky issue because you're dealing with personal property rights of property owners that choose to rent their property under the auspices of these online websites. And we've noticed, I think, in several of our districts, in my conversations with both Councilman Ertel and colleagues on the council, that we basically have, because of the advent of Airbnb and Vrbo and the others, that we basically have businesses that are operating in residential zones with no regulatory environment whatsoever. So I think that this bill accomplishes that without stepping on the property right. And I think what we've done too is that other jurisdictions that have attempted to regulate these business practices have fallen under or have been the subject to lawsuits by the companies that are the internet platforms for these rentals. And I think that we, by looking at best practices and the recommendations of the planning board, and the planning board certainly did look at best practices throughout the country, that we are, that the bill would sort of obviate the need for a lawsuit by one of the companies. Because we're not treading on property rights, but we are providing a necessary regulatory environment to something that is fairly new to not only Baltimore County, but to the country as a whole. So I'm happy to be a co-sponsor of the bill, and again, thank Councilman Ertel for his work on this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Jones?
Yes, first of all, again, thank you, Councilman Ertel, for working on this bill with everyone else. I guess I should just say that the big issue for me is to make sure that people, when they decide to lease their property, that they are in fact still a good neighbor. The complaints that I've heard is when people have swimming pools or big homes and They lease it out for a weekend, and people turn it into some pool party destination, and it wreaks havoc on the community with large groups of people showing up. So by issuing the license, we then have an opportunity to regulate these properties and have a system in place where when people or citizens start to complain, we can have a process where we can not issue that license or take that license back. So I'm happy to co-sponsor the bill.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Jones. Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to thank Councilman for his work on this and the conversation we'll have related to it. I know that we've, as he said, we're behind other jurisdictions in terms of recognizing and also putting in accountability and roles in place to make sure that we're holding folks accountable, even though that they are utilizing their personal property. So applaud his efforts, appreciate the conversation leading up to it, and his openness to friendly amendments that we offered.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Young. Any additional comments? I guess we're with the amendments right now.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. There is an amendment. Mr. Young, I think, mentioned it at the work session last week, and this amendment is offered by Councilman Young and Councilman Ertel. It is essentially two aspects. One would clarify the civil penalty provision and enforcement provision on page 13 of the bill in lines 9 through 13, and it would clarify and specify that a person or host who advertises a short-term rental on a hosting platform and accepts a booking transaction or rents a short-term rental to a guest without a license is subject to a civil penalty of $1,000. And then the other amendment would require, as part of the application, proof of an active liability insurance policy of at least $1 million on the premises for the short-term rental.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Any comments on the amendments, or do we have a motion on the amendment?
I motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Okay, the amendment passes. Do we have any additional amendments, Mr. Secretary?
That is all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now we're on the bill proper.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the bill proper. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. 824.
Thank you.
Okay. The council will now consider all fiscal matters. Extensive testimony was taken at the council's work session on September 10th, 2024. The witnesses who testified at the work session are available to restate their testimony if needed. I'll now call upon the secretary to read the cover letter for fiscal matters 1 through 3.
Fiscal Matter 1 is a contract with Metals Treatment Technologies, LLC. Fiscal Matter 2 is a contract with the Electric Motor Repair Company. And Fiscal Matter 3 is an amendment to a contract with Contractor Compliance and Monitoring Incorporated.
Okay, are there any questions, comments, or thoughts on any of the fiscal matters? Any of the members? Okay, do we have a motion on the fiscal matters?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Okay, fiscal matters pass. We'll now consider the remainder of miscellaneous business. Mr. Secretary, first item.
The first item, Mr. Chairman, is Resolution 40-24. This is requesting the council's approval of applications and ranking Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation FY 25-26 agricultural easement cycle.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Benjamin, it looks like you're standing akimbo to come to the mic.
And there is another resolution right after this, so I think Ms. Benjamin may refer to both of them, but you'll take the vote on each one.
Okay.
Individually.
Ms. Benjamin?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of council. For Resolution 40-24, the administration is requesting approval of the recommendation of 11 applications and ranking of the same on approximately 604 acres by landowners to sell easements to the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation in their FY 25-26 cycle. The department received and reviewed the 11 applications, and the Baltimore County Agricultural Land Preservation Advisory Board recommended the ranking of these 11 applications at their meeting on June 12, 2024. In accordance with the agricultural section of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the ranking is to remain confidential until the completion of the acquisition cycle. Therefore, the resolution lists the farms in alphabetical order. Happy to take any questions you have.
Thank you, Ms. Benjamin. Do any of the members have any comments, questions, or thoughts to share with Ms. Benjamin? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll, please.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Okay, resolution is passed. Ms. Benjamin, could I ask you to go to the next resolution?
Right, the next one is Resolution 41-24. This also seeks a council approval for the purchase of development rights easements, again through Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation, this for the FY24 cycle.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Ms. Benjamin?
As Mr. Boswick said, this is for the approval of the funds for the acquisition in the FY24 cycle. Council is requested to approve $1,007,636.65 in matching funds for the purchase of these 8 agricultural easements on approximately 503 acres. The total cost of the easements is $4,266,650.63, with the state funds making up the difference.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Benjamin. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on this resolution.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Okay, the resolution is passed. Thank you, Ms. Benjamin.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, is Resolution 42-24. This is a resolution seeking approval of an application to the state of Maryland for the redesignation of the Chesapeake Enterprise Zone for introduction only this evening.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Secretary, is there any further business to come before the council?
There is no further business, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting's adjourned. As is customary, anyone who's registered to speak prior to the meeting is allowed 3 minutes to speak. Ms. Belcastro, do we have any speakers this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Our first speaker this evening is Joanne Frederick, who is here in person.
Okay.
Good evening, Council Chair, members of the council. My name is Joanne Frederick. I am president of the board of directors of Stop MPRP, Inc., the new nonprofit we created to bring the residents of Baltimore, Carroll, and Frederick County together to fight the Maryland Piedmont Reliability Project, MPRP. Since we started the organization about 60 days ago, we've had 102,000+ people visit our website. We have about 3,000 people reading our emails every day, and about 14,000 people following us on social media. People are upset and frightened and scared, and I'm here to talk to the council with 3 things that I'd like you to know. 1, there are viable alternatives to this project. They are lower cost and can come online faster. I have some information here I'm happy to leave. According to the Department of Energy, these viable solutions are not considered because the industry is lagging in their willingness to take them on, by which they mean the Regional Transmission Organization, PJM. So secondly, data centers, I would implore us to look at them differently. A large data center is about 100,000 square feet. They consume about 20 megawatts of power per year. The average household, when translated, is about 1.22 kilowatts per year. So one data center will take the amount of power for 16,393 homes. If you just say that the average home is 1,500 square feet, one data center is equivalent to 24 million square feet of homes across the county. So we have to look at data centers differently, and I would recommend that we look at the adequate public facilities ordinance and consider how we study data centers, where they will go, and the implications they have on our public services and utilities. And then lastly, every Marylander who gets a utility bill will pay for the MPRP. And that's businesses and people. So I think we need to take a step back, study, again, the MPRP, there are viable alternatives. We pay the bill, and should we take the time, implore the governor to ask for a study, stop this project, the company, PSEG, that's working on it gets paid for all of this work they do, even if it gets canceled at the Maryland Public Service Commission. So folks are, afraid of losing their property. They're afraid of their bills that are increasing significantly already. They're going to continue to increase, and there seems little that we can do except for file lawsuits and be ready to hire lawyers to fight eminent domain cases. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Ms. Frederick. Do any of the members have any? Councilman Ertel?
Ms. Frederick, I think this project, from what I've heard, doesn't have anything to do with Maryland. It just comes through the top of Maryland.
Giant extension cord.
So why are we, how and why are we paying for it if it doesn't affect Maryland, users or consumers of energy?
So it's complex, and we're learning a lot. The way power happens in the region, we are kind of controlled by the Regional Transmission Organization, PJM, and they get to make the decision about what projects are needed, where and when. And they allocate the cost of that project across all of their ratepayers by some mysterious cost allocation method that we don't really have visibility into that we would like.
Good to know.
Ms. Frederick, could I ask you, do you know if there's been any review of or look at a Pennsylvania alignment for the transmission?
So there are projects like this happening all over the country. It really is, the increase in demand due to data centers and electrification, and the decrease in power generating facilities. So MPRP is one of many projects that are happening all over. I think one of the things that we contend, if according to the Department of Energy, the current transmission grid is only working at 50% of its capacity. And there are advanced grid solutions that we can implement across the nation and across Maryland that would bring the current grid up to closer to 100% of capacity, which in theory would negate the need to take private land for additional transmission lines. So there are questions almost on every part of this issue. We're playing a clock game here. We understand that PSEG will file for a permit with the Maryland Public Service Commission sometime later this year. And if the Public Service Commission says yes, then the folks have no choice but to negotiate or give up their land to eminent domain.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Frederick.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, yes, Councilman Katch.
Thank you very much. Ms. Frederick, thank you very much for coming in to speak with me earlier today. Certainly learned more than I had known about this project. There's no doubt that it's going to cost all the ratepayers more money each month. And I just wanted to tell you that after you had left, a representative from BGE came to see me, and there is now a third project.
Yes, sir.
That you know about the third project.
I do.
BGE is going to take the existing right-of-ways for power lines through the 3rd District, over past Parkton, through Reisterstown, and then over to the western edge of Baltimore County. Because of some delays in this project, what will happen is they're going to be assessing every Marylander on their gas electric bill $6 a month. And so we have, if anything, it's clear to me that what we need to do as a state is to plan for the future. We need a definite plan. What is the problem? What are our needs? And what needs to be done? It seems to me when I look at the 2 BGE projects, one going through Harford County and parts of Baltimore County, the second BGE project, which goes all the way through Baltimore County, and then the Piedmont project, they don't seem to be coordinated to me. They're not coordinated, in fact. And so we need, as a state, to come up with a plan. And we need that this plan should be used by our Public Service Commission. I'm sure you all realize that in 1910, the Public Service Commission was created by the state legislature. The state legislature has the power to require this study. Certainly the governor has the power to put a hold on these projects until a proper study is done. So I appreciate all the information, Ms. Frederick, that you gave me today, and was rather shocked to hear about Project 3. And you know, our county, 40% of our energy is imported into Maryland. And on top of it, I don't know if you know it or not, but our energy sources that are powered by fossil fuels are due to all be closed down by a certain date. And we need to take a closer look at nuclear. And if you've taken a look at the studies related to solar and wind and industry, they are very inefficient and do not generate the power that the fossil fuels do and the nuclear power that's needed. So we really need a plan in Maryland along the East Coast so that we can fulfill the future needs of Maryland and the people of the country. And again, to me, this looks like a piecemeal effort. And we need to jump in and urge our governor and our legislature to hold back a little bit so that we do come up with a plan that is going to work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. Thank you for your leadership on this issue. I think the third project Councilman Catch is discussing is the Brandon Shores project, which is also going on right now, like the 37 miles of line that's being constructed in eastern part of Baltimore County. And of course, the council passed a resolution to that. I completely agree with Councilman Catch. I think this is an area where we could really have some leadership at the state level. And I just wanted to say thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you, Councilman Marks. I think Other states have what's called an integrated resource plan, and that requires the state public utilities to come together and plan for the needs of the state. Maryland does not require that. We have suggested that as a piece of legislation that should happen at the General Assembly level. At least then we control our own fates, and we're not left to the whims of companies out of Pennsylvania or New Jersey on how and where and when we'll move power around in Maryland.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Catch.
Yeah, Councilman Marks, unfortunately, this is not the subject of your resolution. This is a third.
I understand that.
So.
I understand that.
Okay, good.
Right. However, all of these projects are occurring at once.
Right.
Right? They're all occurring at once. And I think what you're talking about is the need for an integrated approach from the state.
Each of these projects are analyzed and proposed separately. So there's no balancing of what's gained and what's lost as they come online and go off of line. It really defies logic, quite honestly. So that's the ask, is to let's do this better.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Frederick.
Thank you.
Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is Corey Freeman, who is here in person.
Mr. Freeman, come on up.
Good evening, esteemed council members. My name is Corey Freeman. I'm the president of Grade Line Construction Company. Grade Line is a Baltimore-based business located in Middle River that I started back in 1997. I started in this industry right out of high school. I worked extremely hard with many 80-hour-plus weeks as a laborer and eventually put everything on the line, including my home and livelihood and family, to try and start our company. We now employ over 70, mostly Baltimore County residents. We are a paving contractor who received our pre-qualification from Baltimore County over 15 years ago. At the time, the pre-qualification was a long, difficult process where our abilities had to be verified, demonstrated over the course of a number of years, and we were quite proud when we finally obtained the status. Typically, we are working as a subcontractor for a utility or a prime contractor to restore county roads to the correct standards after they are torn up by various projects, and also built the Campbell Boulevard extension directly for Baltimore County. I'm coming before you to express my frustration and frankly my fears as a business owner of being able to continue to exist as a subcontractor in Baltimore County. The recent changes in minority requirements and enforcement have begun to shut our company out of the opportunity to work in the county in which we call home. Not for poor quality of work, but merely because I don't qualify as a minority woman-owned business, minority or woman-owned business. The county's stated goal of the 25% minority participation in the county contracts does not seem on the face of it to shut out business owners like myself. But when a job is awarded to a non-minority prime contractor, that prime is usually self-performing at least half of the work, meaning that at least 50% of the subcontracted work must be by the minority-owned businesses, and even minority-owned prime contractors can struggle to meet the minority-owned business target if they don't self-perform enough of the work, which also decreases the amount of jobs in which we can participate in. We were recently informed that we could not even send in a bid on multiple projects because the prime contractor had to fulfill their minority percentages. So our company, despite the diversity of its employees, cannot turn in a bid on a county contract because I, the owner, am not a minority. This is extremely disappointing to me, but most importantly, our employees lose out on the opportunity to work and earn and provide for their families. Grade Line may not qualify as a minority-owned business, but we are a very diverse company. We have built our company to provide opportunities for everyone, no matter what their background, and 45 of our 70 employees, or 65% are minority or female. We pay our employees well, but can I hand this off?
Go right ahead. You can continue.
Okay. You sure? He reads a lot better than I do.
No, you do.
I'm a little nervous if you can't tell.
No, go right ahead.
So 65% are minority and or female. We pay our employees well above industry standards for the work they do, and I feel the burden of making sure that we have enough work to keep all of our employees at full employment. We estimate we lost over $2 million of opportunities this year in Baltimore County because of being told not to bother to bid or by losing a bid to a minority-owned business despite our bid being lower. If we were losing opportunities because of our work was low quality or too expensive, that would be one thing. But when we see work going to our competitors, we haven't met the pre-qualifications to do the work in Baltimore County, come from other areas and have a lack of knowledge about the specifications and requirements for working in Baltimore County, but they are minority owned. Well, that's hard. That is the reality of what the minority construction requirements in Baltimore County seems to have resulted in. If the owner is defined as a minority, then it doesn't matter who else the company employs, what type of background or qualifications they might have. They check a box and they can get the job. Not only does this limit the amount of experienced pre-qualified contractors that are able to bid, but is also result in significant cost increase to Baltimore County projects and the taxpayers by limiting the amount of competitive bidders. I'm here before you with the hope that the council will hear my concerns and help us all work together to figure out reasonable accommodations to encourage minority participation in this gut-wrenching struggle of small business ownership, while not shutting out valued Baltimore County-based companies who have gone through blood, sweat, and tears over the many decades to earn what we thought was a partnership with the county in which we call home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
I have a quick question for Mr. Freeman. Mr. Freeman, thank you for coming in. So in your business, I would assume a lot of your employees are minorities. Is that correct?
About 65%.
You said 65%. Yeah. So 65% are minority. Mm-hmm. They live in the county. What would you say your average salary is, approximately?
Well, I mean, that's hard to tell because we have laborers all the way up to office staff and administrators.
Or a more experienced person that, operates
out in the field on a paving crew, anywhere from 50 to 90,000.
Right. So we have minorities making $50,000 to $90,000, and there's no dispensation for them. Is that what you're saying?
No, there's not.
Right. And I don't know that Baltimore County looks at that as a metric, but we need to, because these are people that actually live here, and they're actually people that are earning a living, and we're telling them that, it would be better to have someone from out of town come in, and, potentially they hire 1099 employees.
It exists.
So, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilman Marks, hang tight. Mr. Freeman.
Is that
Thank
it?
you, Mr. Freeman. Your business is based in my council district.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate all that you do. Can you recommend any maybe changes or improvements to the process that would still meet the county's mission of reflecting its diversity? In other words, making sure that we have that outreach that's so important.
So I have a couple thoughts on that. One thought is the new regulations that were just put in place this year or end of last year. If a minority contractor is to get a project, if they sub out any of their work to a non-minority, then they don't get their percentage for that. Mm-hmm. So that is one option. The state allows that. Another thought process is to, and these are round numbers, if a minority contractor is able to do $30 million a year based on a 3-year average and is still able to maintain their status, maybe that could be for anybody to be able to do that dollar amount, to be able to then be considered as a group. And not just based on one person as the owner. Those are just two off-the-cuff options.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Wonderful, thank you.
Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is Scott French, who is here in person.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I was going to continue on if he didn't finish his time, but I don't have to do that now. And I wanted to just real briefly share what I've shared with some of the council members and Mr. Ketch, my 6th grade math teacher, so a long time ago. The state of one of the schools here in the Towson District, Loch Raven High School. I've been an advocate for Loch Raven. I graduated from Loch Raven in the 80s. We had 1,200 students at the time. It was a fantastic school. Loch Raven is now, maybe not politically correct to say, but the redheaded stepchild of Baltimore County. We have under 800 students. I think current enrollment's 785. This is in the midst of Towson with one of the largest campuses Loch Raven has. In the midst of Towson with overcrowded schools. And what is the reason? People won't send their children there because frankly, last year with everything that was in the news and the vice principal being attacked and the leadership there, but also there's better options. And so Baltimore County Public Schools has ignored it. And people don't even know. So my daughter is a junior. I've had two other children go through there. Is now in her junior year, has played soccer since she was, young girl. She's, a junior in high school, and in a Baltimore County school is being told, you can't play soccer anymore. So we can't field a girls' soccer team. So the girls there that have played soccer cannot play soccer this year, and they just canceled the season. It's unheard of, unprecedented, and a shame. And Baltimore County's schools are doing nothing about it. And it's not just the sports, it's the arts, it's the programs, because they've allowed Loch Raven to deteriorate. And so what are parents doing? We can't compete with private schools, that's one thing, but when there's multiple dozens of students that are being given special transfers to go to Delaney High School because they have better programs than Loch Raven does, that's a shame. And what should happen is the programs that are drawing kids in from the Towson area, from the area should be at Loch Raven. The programs at Delaney, the law and public policy that are putting kids in an overcrowded environment in Towson should be at Loch Raven. If you want to fix the problem, that's going to be it, because when Towson and Delaney get new schools, no one will want to send their children to Loch Raven. Why would you send them to a school with no windows when you have brand new facilities and Carver's a brand new facility? So something has to change, and I just wanted to make the council aware of it because it's extremely frustrating and I think embarrassing for Baltimore County.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Jones.
Now, Mr. French, thank you so much for sharing that information with us. I do know that, number one, I would urge you to also take your concerns to the school board.
Oh, I have. Yes.
And I assure you that their representative is watching this meeting or will see this meeting. I'll make sure I'll flag it for them.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Capps.
Thank you. Scott, I want to thank you for all your advocacy for Loch Raven High School. Of course, we were all very upset with the violence that occurred at the end of last year's school year. And something that a lot of people don't know is there are now some private police that are at Loch Raven High School. And from what I understand, the violence situation has subsided. And, no one is going to want to send their children to a school where there's a chance of violence. So, the community and the school system need to make sure that students feel safe in that school and that their parents feel safe for their children. I find it to be a bit, it's just beyond belief that you have a very crowded school with Towson. You have a crowded, well, Delaney's not overcrowded, but it's just about at capacity, and that there hasn't been a move to redistrict so that we can reduce the crowding at Towson. Maybe what needs to be done is a program at Loch Raven that people will want to sign up, have their children participate and sign up. There's a lot of answers out there, and I assume you've met with our 3rd district representative on the school board, and that she understands what's going on there, because we need to be advocates for Loch Raven. There's no reason for it to not be a school that the parents don't want to send their children there. Again, thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Yeah, if I may say, students flock to Eastern Tech from Towson. Why? Because they have the programs. It's not because it's a beautiful school building or anything like that. It's because they have fantastic programs. And if they redistrict, children still won't go to Loch Raven because of the reputation. And the only way that it's going to be fixed is through programs. So
I agree with you. It's additional programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. French.
Mr. French, I have one quick question, or could you, I don't know if you can you speak to the AP situation at the school as far as what's provided? And I've gotten a lot of complaints.
There are AP programs, but we have less programs in every capacity. So as an example, this year, my daughter, hopefully get this right, wanted to take, she wanted to take one AP class, but she couldn't take it because the only time it's offered is one single time, because that's all they can have students for. So if she took another class this year, I think it was AP biology, she couldn't take the other, computer science. And it's not, one of the new assistant principals at Loch Raven told me, who just came from Perry Hall, told me that that's not the situation at Perry Hall. It was very new to him to not be able to offer classes to kids. And that's the case at Loch Raven. And it's whether it's arts, music, sports. We weren't even gonna have a field hockey team till some of the girls because soccer got canceled, some of the girls were like, well, we want to do something, including my daughter, and are now playing field hockey where we have 3 subs, I think, but we were able to do that, so.
Councilman Marks?
One of my biggest frustrations over my tenure as a council member has been that the school system tends to hide behind confidentiality. You know, I understand that they do not want to release names. They cannot release names of students and discipline issues, but the parents that I represent at Perry Hall High School over the years have seen these acts on, videos on Instagram. The kids upload these fights, and there doesn't ever seem to be consequences. And again, I understand you can't name people, but it would give some reassurance to parents to know that there are tough consequences for these actions.
Last year, we received several letters home to the parents that actually threatened more consequences against the kids who videoed the fights and released it so that we would know what was going on than the actual consequences for fighting.
And I understand this. I teach at a public high school, one that has these challenges, I can assure you, but I think that's what parents are looking for. They're looking for some understanding that there are consequences.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. French.
Thank you, Mr. French.
Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Elizabeth Iglesias, who is here in person.
Ms. Iglesias.
Good evening, Council. As you said, my name is Elizabeth Iglesias, and I'm a Baltimore County resident. I work for Grade Line Construction, who Corey spoke earlier, and although the majority of our jobs are private jobs, not public, These public jobs, including the ones for Baltimore County, are an important part of our business model. We are quite familiar with the prevailing wage laws and the implementation that go along with doing public work. So Baltimore County just put in their prevailing wage law into effect, I think it was last November. Excuse me as I get closer to the mic here. From my perspective, that implementation of the prevailing wage laws here in the county has been pretty much a nightmare. There are two important aspects to prevailing wage jobs. One of those is paying the people at least as much as the wage rates that are deemed prevailing for that contract. And the other part of it is the reporting or certification that you have paid such wages. So Baltimore County's prevailing wage compliance is being handled by a company called Contractor Compliance and Monitoring, or CCMI, and they are using a system called LCP Tracker to report the certified payrolls and other documents. So we've used this program a couple of times for other contracts, and never have we had the problems that we've had for Baltimore County. So the first job that we had under this new system, we had a day of work in December, and we are a third-tier sub on this project, which means that there's the prime contractor who hires a subcontractor who then hires us, which is why we only have one day in December that we worked on this job, and then a second day to finish the project, which was today, actually. And so for a variety of reasons, we had great difficulty getting our LCP Tracker account set up. And so for this one single day, it took us 2 months before we were able to get our account active and working, and we were able to then upload our documents to certify that we did indeed pay people the prevailing wage on this contract. And in that 2 months, we were able to amass about $1,000 worth of fines. Even though there was never any issue with what we paid the employees, it was really just an issue of the reporting. But I understand that when a new system gets put into place, it's not easy. We've gone through the switches on the state level of like the unemployment insurance, and then more recently, the switch to the Maryland Business Tax Connect. And let me tell you, those have been painful for us, but also from what I can understand from all the people implementing it on the state side of that.
Go right ahead, Mr. Glenn.
Thank you. In these cases, there's been understanding and patience, both us with the state and the state with us, as we work out the kinks in the new system. But unfortunately here with Baltimore County, I have not felt at all that the implementation has been at all in the spirit of partnership, nor have we been offered very much assistance in how to comply with that. In fact, I would say that CCMI has taken actually an adversarial approach with us rather than working together in good faith. From the way they've acted, it's my assumption, and I have no idea whether this is true or not, but just from the outside looking at it, it seems that CCMI is probably getting paid in part by the amount of fines they collect. So we're not perfect in our approach to paperwork. We're really, really good at paving roads. We're not so good about doing all sorts of paperwork. But we're not that terrible, and we really try. And the zero tolerance compliance policy has really been counterproductive, if you ask me. And then one other comment on the amount of paperwork that is associated now with the Baltimore County prevailing wage and local hiring law. I mean, I understand there's lots of paperwork. We get that, we'll do it. But I really do think it's somewhat absurd for a project in which we do 2 days worth of work that we have to file 9 months worth of reports saying that, nope, we didn't hire anybody for this project in Baltimore County because it's 2 days worth of work. We weren't going to hire somebody. So the net result of all of this has been that my recommendation to our estimators is to add 5 to 8% onto our bids for Baltimore County work, so that we can make sure that we cover all of the additional administration costs that we have for compliance and the threat of the fines for when we get something slightly wrong.
Thank you, Ms. Iglesias. Any questions, comments? Yep, Councilman Ertel.
I have a question for Madam CAO. How much are we paying CCMI?
Councilman, we currently pay them about $200,000. As you noticed in the fiscal note, that is what the costs incurred. Actually, we haven't paid them quite that amount, but those would be the costs incurred to date.
And have we always had a contractor, a subcontractor doing this work, or is this new to the county?
We have always had this subcontractor since the unrolling out of prevailing wage when we fully implemented it last July.
When did we start implementing this?
I believe officially in January of 2023. We had started to roll this out.
I mean, does it seem reasonable to either of you that a contractor does 2 days' work and they're getting filing 9 months worth of wage data and paying a $1,000 fine for, again, employing Baltimore County residents on a job?
So what I will tell you, sir, is that I was out last week. The first I heard of concerns with payments being withheld or payments or liquidated damages was a week and a half ago. This past Friday, I had a meeting with the staff. We are reviewing how the staff has been going about implementing the bill. Have some recommendations in play, but my first meeting was on Friday, and we now have those meetings scheduled every 2 weeks to look at the process. What I will say is that I believe that the staff has taken some words literally, where it says may, we've interpreted it as must. So we need to have some conversations about that. And again, it was a week and a half ago. Just met with them on Friday. So I can assure you that I have an obligation to the county executive to report this information up to him, because we did I heard about it about a week and a half ago. So we're addressing it.
I know I forwarded this to both of you a month ago about this problem.
I will tell you that I will ask.
If we're addressing it, that's great, but you know, it's not brand new.
I can have a sidebar conversation with you. I'd rather not.
Thank you, Ms. Iglesias.
Ms. Iglesias, I just have one quick question, and for Madam CAO as well. Is this I'm not understanding the issue. Is it a software problem? Or is it the paperwork? Is that software? What do we?
There are two issues. One is the amount of documents that we do have to turn in to Baltimore County is in excess of what we have done for, say, like a state project or some other work that we've done in other counties. And, you know, that's part of that's just the way it is, but I do think you're probably asking for more information than needs to be collected. For instance, every time we enter an employee into this system, we have to put in 4 different types of classifications of this employee, their phone number, their email address, their physical address, the date of hire, all of this information. I'm not quite sure, I mean.
But I guess the question I'm asking is the paperwork, is there a way to automate it so that there's not repetition, that the system or the reviewing entity is able to review it in a efficient way?
If we were able to custom program our construction software so that we could put this in a format that this software program would accept. It would probably be automated. I'm not quite sure how much that would cost us, but it would be a considerable amount. And again, I think this is probably one of the issues with being a smaller contractor that, you know, we were pretty pleased to have our contracting software be able to track the prevailing wage. But for instance, we only have one category of taking our fringe benefits, taking credit for the fringe benefits we pay for the employee. The LCP tracker wants those broken down into 4 different categories. Now, we actually take all of those categories once a year and calculate it out of any of the system, just in a plain old spreadsheet, to come up with those fringe benefits, the one rate that we enter into our software system. But to try to then take that, say, $3.65 of fringe benefits that we paid one employee on one day and divide that $3.65 into the 4 different categories, say this one is the 401k, this one's the health, this one's, you know, that seems excessive.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Iglesias.
In county government, what are we doing with that information when we're asking contractors to do this? Do we have something we do with that helps us determine what?
So again, I think it's a conversation that we should have offline, because there's other things that we should not be discussing in the open. I'm addressing it. I had a meeting with the staff on Friday, and I am committed to making sure that we address the issues, but it's bigger than just me talking to you here and saying.
Okay. I mean, I'm very familiar with this from the standpoint of in the insurance world, and we have a lot of contractors who do federal work, and they have to pay fringe benefits on jobs, prevailing wage. And I don't see any of them at the federal level having, I mean, it's just very frustrating to hear these things when somebody works for 2 days for the county and we're putting them through the ringer on just excessive paperwork for what? What do we need to know how much we put in the 401k versus the dental and health insurance. You know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why we're even asking those questions. I'm not sure half the time if the government knows why they're asking these questions.
So, sir, what I'll commit to you is that I'll bring the paperwork and I'll bring the information that has been asked of the company, and I'll show you when the company has updated the information. We did do a 2-hour training for the companies, and it is a heavy lift, but it is a law that we've been asked to implement, and we're working really hard to implement it by getting the information that's needed to meet the law, as well as give the resources to the contractors where we can. But we started up a new program a year ago, and it does require a lot of information to be uploaded. I would not sit here and say that it doesn't.
And I think this is something we need to loop Jonathan Sachs in on as well, because again, this is about one of the things, and the reason why I'm a little bit fired up about this is most of what I hear from business people in this county, and it has nothing to do with this issue per se, is that we can't issue permits on time. We're constantly, we have one inspector goes out for a job and says something, and then a second one comes out and says something else. It just seems like we're constantly, we have software that doesn't work in PAI. It's just very frustrating to hear this.
So, Councilman, with all due respect, you know that our directors work really hard to make sure that they are meeting the needs of the residents. We have 10,000 employees. We will have some hiccups along the way. But what I will commit to you is that we will try to work through those hiccups. And when there were issues with permits and PAI, we were committed to implementing software to make the process smoother for the residents. So I'd be remiss if I didn't sit here and say that we are diligent about trying to put processes in play when there's an issue that comes to our attention. Hence, again, a week and a half ago, I've already had a meeting when I was on vacation to address the issue. I'm moving with speed to try to address the issue. As a matter of fact, I called when I was out for a family member being very sick. That's how serious this is to me and to the administration to address it. So I am committed to addressing it. We'll address it.
Councilman Marks?
Thank you very much. And you'd be happy to meet with Grade Line and go over their specific concerns? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Councilman Jones?
Yeah, first of all, I want to just thank the representatives from Grade Line for coming in. It's important that, you share this type of information with us. Ms. Walker, I'm sure you're going to handle it and take care of it. And I just want to say that, I'm a big supporter of the prevailing wage as well as the county executive's minority set-asides. But at the same time, I think it's important to note that I'm also really believe that it's important that we treat people fairly and give them opportunities. So I know sometimes the paperwork can, sometimes we don't understand why, but, let's not be too burdensome on people, especially the scenario that was just given doesn't sound very good. But anyway, I'm sure you're going to take care of it. I take you at your word, and thank you.
Where we are able to streamline the process, we will. It's going to take me a minute to get through it. But where we're able to streamline it, we'll get through it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Iglesias.
Can I just say that we understand that it is a burdensome process and it's new, and although I might complain about doing paperwork, it is my job. We will do the paperwork. It's just that attitude of being willing to work together to understand, and we understand that on your side of implementing this with all the different contractors and all of the people who come in who haven't had the experience of doing it for the whole year, but just started one day in December with it. And so it's a whole lot of people that's brand new for a long time as it gets implemented. So we understand that. We just want to work together as partners.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Iglesias. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Christina Canis Heron.
Oh, yes.
Who's here in person.
Canis Heron. It's good to see you, Christina.
All right.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. My name is Christina Cañas, and I'm here on behalf of DSM Contracting. We're a certified minority business enterprise contractor licensed with the state of Maryland, and we're located in the great county of Baltimore in the beautiful District 2. I have personally...
Well done, Christina.
I also live in the beautiful District 2, and I own my own business in District 2 as well, so we love District 2. I've personally been in public contracting for 16 years, working with agencies all over the country. All 16 years of my experience have involved managing prevailing wages on a molecular level, from payment of wages to compliance matters. In all of my years, I have never experienced anything quite like what Baltimore County has implemented or instituted in the prevailing wage and local hire department. I am here to implore this council to take any action available to assist us with our concerns. First, we have had great difficulty communicating with the prevailing wage local hire department. It is of utmost importance to us that we maintain a partnering atmosphere with the entities in which we do business, and we pride ourselves on our ability to do that. It benefits all parties, from the owner of the contract right down to the taxpayers and everyone in between. Second, we have been threatened, intimidated, and harassed by this department. After several months of trying to determine how to file a complaint on this matter, we had to reach out to our councilman to aid in getting that information. It is not made readily available to contractors. We've since had an open complaint for several months with no resolution, no updates, and the harassment and abuse of power continue on. We've experienced retaliation in the purest form with no help from anyone at Baltimore County. Third, our subcontractors have endured the same treatment, some fearful to speak out for fear of retaliation against them because they've seen what we've been going through. Moreover, we know without question that the administrator of the department attempted to withhold the award of 2 separate contracts to our organization for unfounded reasons. We have the proof obtained through public information requests. The administrator has misrepresented her authority to us, misdirected us on the law, and refused to provide requested information from the department, in some cases referring us back to the owners of our own organization. Most recently, I requested only a status of our organization's compliance status and was threatened with action by the law office and accused of harassment. We have open complaints with the Public Access Ombudsman for additional PIA requests to which the department will not respond. As of recently, we've been requested to replace our own principal of our organization. The actions and behavior of this department towards our company and our subcontractors thus far are not only counter to the collaborative partnership we believe the county is trying to engage in with its partners, but it's creating a hostile environment in which to work. We have a fiscal responsibility to make sure that taxpayer dollars are spent wisely, that publicly funded contracts are bid competitively and awarded fairly, seeking the lowest responsible bidders for county-funded work. Our organization alone has saved this county $622,408 by being the lowest responsive and responsible bidder in the short 14 months that we've been pre-qualified to work here. When contractors begin to decide not to work here because they don't want to deal with the hostility which has been created by this department, we're doing a disservice to the taxpayers. I thank you for your time. And if I could just speak candidly, I want you all to know that, we're doing a fantastic job in Baltimore County. We're building the Church Lane Park in Pikesville. We're renovating the trail with Villanova, and we have a phenomenal relationship with everyone in Baltimore County. All of the management personnel, everyone that we're working with, we have an exceptional relationship. It is only this department that's causing us so much grief.
Thank you, Christina.
Yes.
Christina, one quick, thank you for coming in. What department is it?
Prevailing wage and local hire.
And that's in the county?
Yes.
Is that a county department? Is that, who is that under? What department deals with that?
It's under OBF.
Okay.
It's a county department?
Yes.
So can we drill down a little further?
We have contacted the Office of Budget and Finance. We've contacted Kevin Reed. We have an open complaint with Rosetta Butler, Gabrielle. I've reached out to your office to try to get help, just to find out who to contact. It's just we feel like we have no method of resolution.
Christina, can I ask you that, so the office that's being threatening and harassing, creating fear, I want to drill down. What office is that?
Prevailing wage and local hire. I believe it's a one-person office. I don't know that there's anyone else that works there other than the director. And they oversee CCMI, which is the consultant that manages the LCP tracker program.
We have Mr. Reed right here, and I just was wondering if you guys could speak to that, because if that's Baltimore County, that's not right.
Mr. Chair, I think that there's some issues that are personnel related. And so I think that to Madam Mayo's point earlier, we'd be happy to have a further discussion offline, but as far as being able to discuss in this open forum, because the personnel issues involved, we have to be very, very careful as far as what we can.
Aside from the personnel issue, let's keep it anonymous. I mean, I'm trying to find out if Ms. Canis has a legitimate complaint here. I mean, it sounds pretty. I mean, I've known Christina for
long time,
8 years, and she's pretty straightforward. She doesn't pull any punches, and I'm just trying to sort it all out.
SKG will be meeting with OBF this week.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, if I will keep you informed, Christina, as much as these guys keep me informed.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A lot of mystery. Next speaker, Ms. Belcastro.
Certainly. Our final speaker this evening is Fred Homan, who is here in person.
I thought we had one other speaker signed up.
I believe there was a registered speaker who withdrew.
Okay, no problem. I apologize for questioning you, Ms. Belcastro.
I'm here tonight because the county executive continues to deceive the public about the payment made to Philip Terabasi. He has made false statements to the Baltimore Sun and just recently on WBAL radio. The county executive has violated his oath of office, but you each took an oath of office as well. Your constituents have a right to believe that your oath was made directly to them. There are county-generated documents at your disposal to prove that this administration knowingly executed an agreement that violates state law in order to pay Mr. Terabasi with public funds. Your oath requires you to use those documents to expose the fraud. The county executive wants the public to believe that he was forced to pay Terabasi because of the actions of an assistant county attorney. As he tells it, an assistant county attorney can act without authority and bind the county executive to sign an agreement that violates state law. They signed the illegal agreement because Mr. Terabasi threatened to sue if they didn't. Without me telling you, you know that's a crock. You know that no judge would force a government to execute an illegal agreement and would not enforce it if it was presented to them. The county executive makes that argument because he has no other argument to make. He has to deceive the public or admit what he did. The county executive, the Administrative Officer Rogers, the Chief of Staff, and especially County Attorney Benjamin, all knew and executed the agreement anyway. The following county-generated documents prove it. A pre-hearing memorandum submitted to the Board of Appeals by Mr. Benjamin that clearly states that state law prohibited the county from granting Terabasi's request to transfer retirement service credit. A memo written to Mr. Benjamin by the Assistant County Attorney that the county executive blames for everything. That memo warned Mr. Benjamin that the agreement would jeopardize the tax-exempt status of the system precisely because it violated state law. An addendum to the agreement that was executed by the county and Terabasi 16 months after the original agreement, 9 months after Terabasi was paid, but only 6 weeks after I filed the lawsuit to enforce the Maryland Public Information Act. An addendum can be used to negate the terms of an original agreement. And they needed to negate the terms because Judge Finifter released the original agreement to the public. Actually, they did it before he even released it to the public, but by that time, they realized where it was going. The county's lost the lawsuit, and each one of you has it within your power to end the deception tonight. All you have to do is ask Mr. Benjamin, who by charter is your lawyer, to explain, 1, the pre-hearing memorandum. How could Mr. Benjamin tell the Board of Appeals that the county had no authority under state law and then sign the agreement anyway? The memo from the Assistant County Attorney that warned Mr. Benjamin of the jeopardy that was being created for the county's retirement system. The addendum to negate the terms of the original agreement. Why did they have to negate the terms after they'd already paid Terabasi? Because they violated the law, state law. And by the way, Mr. Benjamin continues to refuse to identify what liability, which they're so desperately for everyone to believe that it was a liability versus a retirement payment. What was the liability? These documents are now public, and there is no personal information about Terabasi contained within them. There is absolutely no reason for Mr. Benjamin to refuse to respond to your questions. I'm asking you to stop the deception once and for all. The agreement was signed because the county executive wanted it to be signed. He didn't give a damn that it violated the law. He's blatantly violated the law, abused the public trust, wasted public funds, and now arrogantly refuses to tell the public the truth. Each one of you can do something about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Homan. Do we have any additional speakers, Ms. Belcastro?
No, Mr. Chair, that is it for this evening.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for staying with us late into the evening, and everyone have a great evening. Thanks, everybody.